Hello and welcome to the first Advantage AI Speaker Series presentation. My name is Seth Watts. I'm the AI guy and I'm delighted to speak to you about AI. And I'm going to set a time as we get started because it is March 2026 and it is a pivotal time in what's happening in AI and I get to tell you all about it, which is going to be great because over the last 4 months, we have seen a shift that's almost as big as the original launch of ChatGPT back in December of 2022, happened in December 2025. And we're going to spend the next 20 minutes exploring that, and we're going to have a glimpse into our future, and we're going to have a bit of a glimpse into how we're going to be working over the course of this year. And by the end of the presentation, we're actually going to have a bunch of tools you'll get to take back into your office and start to do some pretty cool things over the course of the next couple of minutes. So, what happened in December 2025? And there was a switch because for 3 years now, we've all been wowed by AI. We've all used AI to answer questions that we thought were impossible to answer. We've certainly used it to make our emails sound better. But 4 months ago, it's changed because it switched from being just a tool that would answer your questions to being a tool that would start to actually go out and do work for you. It started off with programmers who all of a sudden noticed one day that AI could write a lot of the code they were working in. And over the course of the last couple of months, we've seen this rapid advance where we actually can start to use AI to do real work in real estate. And the point of today's presentation is going to be to show you what those changes are and how you can use them to do your job better and to work more successfully with your vendors, landlords, and tenants. Okay, so let's dive into these waves. So for the last 3 years, we've been in wave one. We've all gone through and we've worked with ChatGPT, we've worked with Copilot, we've asked lots of questions. We're moving now to tools that actually start to do the work for you. And I know some of you will have actually already started to play with this. You will have used ChatGPT or Copilot maybe to build a Word document. You might have got it to build a presentation. You might have even got it to build a presentation and then send an email to a vendor. So we're starting to see that sort of early stages of those workflow tools starting to get built. But it's fair to say, March 2026, we're still just coming out of the chat era. So for those of you who get excited or are worried about what we go through over the next 20 minutes, don't worry. It's very early days. You are absolutely on the cutting edge and we're going to teach you how to master all of this material. As we go through what the AI people are getting excited about over in Silicon Valley, they're getting excited about this phase 3, which you see at the bottom there, this agent workflow. Now, I'm going to show you some of that, but it's not ready for prime time. That step number 3, I think, by the end of 2026, we're still not going to quite be there. So the stuff I show you towards the end of our presentation, it's a bit of future gazing, but I think it's useful for all of us to see what's coming because then we can start to plan for it. So we'll work through all of this. I'm going to show you great tools for chat, great tools for workflow, and we'll show you a bit of the future towards the end. Now to do the future bit, I'm actually going to do a quick setup because I need you to watch a video by a guy called Ryan Serhant. Many of you have seen him at ARIC or you've seen him on various TV shows. But he launches, a couple of years ago now, a product called Simple, which I would challenge anybody who's watching this video not to find it amazing. And let's have a quick look at what I'm talking about.
Grenades! No problem. Hey, Simple? I'm meeting the owner of 317 West 92nd Street. Can I get a listing presentation, an exclusive listing agreement, a comparable market analysis, a marketing plan? Thanks, bye. That was simple.
Work that used to be hard is now simple.
Pretty cool, huh? So that piece of technology, it looked amazing, and it is amazing. But what it does is it takes that task and it sends it to a group of people who then go through and they create the CMA and they create the listing presentation and all the other amazing things that it does. 2 years ago when Ryan introduces that product, it can't be done on AI. In December, all of a sudden that becomes possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try, instead of spending $46 million on creating that system, I'm going to try and do it through WhatsApp. And we're going to do the exact same prompt. So we're going to ask it to do a bunch of work. And then I'm going to come back at the end of this presentation and we're going to see if we can recreate that entire system using AI rather than a bunch of people. Okay, so let's go to the next slide here. And my setup, similar to what Ryan did, I've got a new listing. I want you to go through and create everything, CMAs and listing preps and all of that great stuff. I want you to do some research, find me some painters because the vendor wants to paint up a couple of the rooms and just schedule it all into my calendar. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to drop over into WhatsApp here. You'll notice I've cut and pasted the prompt in and I'm going to send it off to our CRM. Let's see what happens. We'll come back in about 10 minutes and we'll see if the technology actually can go through and do that. Excellent. Okay, so let's go back for a sec. Because I said I would talk to you about a few different things. Before I start, though, I need to talk about privacy because the demonstrations I'm about to give you, including that one I just did, those demonstrations are going to use a lot of personal information from vendors, and they're also going to use some business information that I don't want other people to see. And I get a lot of questions when I'm talking to groups around personal information. What do I have to do to make sure that I'm doing the right thing by the law? And also, what do I have to do strategically? I don't want my competitors to get all my business information. And it's a little bit difficult. So I've created a table for us just to go through. I know everybody on the call is going to be using different technologies. Some of you on Microsoft, some of you are using OpenAI, some of you are using Gemini, even some of you are using Claude. So irrespective, there's a couple of rules. Firstly, free is always bad for privacy. If you're not paying for one of the technologies, you can guarantee that there is no privacy. The problem is even if you are paying, so if you've gone and spent your $20 a month to go and get ChatGPT, unfortunately, that does not include the regulatory framework to protect the personal and private information of your vendors or of your business. Doesn't mean they'll share it, but it's not legislatively compliant. The only way for you to get a legislatively compliant where you can dump all of your vendor information safely and protectively is to have a business, team, or enterprise plan. And what this means, so for the principals who are listening to this, your business needs to get a plan and give licenses to your staff. That will then give you the framework you need to protect your data. Really easy if you're on Microsoft. Microsoft will actually sell it to you. Really good on Gemini as well for Google. But if you're using OpenAI and Claude, you need to make sure you're using one of those business plans. A bit boring aside, but it's really important. I know many of you are thinking about this, as you should be. But yeah, business and enterprise plans are the way to go if you want to put in private information like we're about to do now. Okay, so I'm going to use a tool to show you wave one. And I use this tool because it represents a state-of-the-art approach to AI that gets beyond the chatbot. And I really want to push everybody on this video to really think about what AI can do for them. And I'm going to use a tool called Perplexity Comet. Now, there's a bunch of products like this out there in the marketplace. There's a product called Atlas by OpenAI. Microsoft Edge has a competitor. Claude has a competitor. So this is one of many. I like it because it's simple to use and it works on Macs and PCs really easily. But if you don't want to use this one, it does cost money. I understand there's other products out there. And we'll put something on the Advantage AI Hub that includes some different options you have later after the video. Okay, so to get started, let's look what modern prompting looks like in 2026. And I'm going to do a couple of different things. So I'm about to drop into Comet, and it's going to look a little different because I am not going to drop into a chatbot. I'm going to drop into a web browser, and we're going to do some pretty cool prompts. This answers a question that I think all of you have. Seth, I want to work with data that I can only access when I'm logged in, my CRM, Ignite, other products that have a authentication layer or a password. I can't access them from ChatGPT, but I still need to work with them. How do I do it? Well, turns out Comet and the other tools, that's your answer. So let's have a look. Okay, so first things first. Let's pop over to here. I'm going to open up Comet. Now, it just looks like a regular browser. The only difference is that over here on the right, it has an assistant, which I've opened. And what I'm about to do is put in a prompt. This prompt here, I'm a real estate agent, that's me. I'm doing a listing presentation for this vendor Cool Singh, g'day Cool, hope you're watching. Please create a disk profile of Cool and give me the most effective way to conduct the meeting. So I'm going to go through and do a psychological profile of Cool directly off a LinkedIn profile. So there we go. Now look what just happened. Notice how the screen turned blue? What's happening there is it's actually going to start to act as me and browse up and down, which is cool on LinkedIn, but not revolutionary. Let's do something revolutionary, because let's drop into a CRM, and I'm going to do a different prompt. Provide me with a list of buyers I haven't contacted in 90 days or more. Again, now it's going to take over my CRM, and it's going to start to browse and search and do all that annoying work of figuring out how to do reporting out of the CRM. Be careful, because you can do anything here, including it will do trust accounting if you ask it. Don't ask it to do trust accounting, but it will go through and take over your browser and do important work. So let's let that work. It's going to create a bit of a list for me. Now, my favorite tool, and I know REA is sponsoring this, but this is genuinely cool. So please just have a look at this, right? Because REA launches conversational search a couple of weeks ago now. It's awesome, but a lot of people out there think it's for buyers just to type in that they want a 3-bedroom house that's close to a train station. It's way better than that. And check out the prompt I'm about to give it. So I'm going to create a letter to local area residents highlighting recent sales in Hawthorne East within a 1 kilometre radius. I'm going to do a radius search, recent, and then I'm going to get it to go through and create a Canva newsletter. And I want you to this is kind of my favorite demo of Comet, because we're going to go through and it's going to take over the browser. It's going to use this great new conversational search. It's going to take that information and then work with Canva. Let's let it do its thing. I'll come back because it's kind of cool to watch. How do we go with our vendor over here? Great. Okay. Done a disk profile. Great. Evidence, high D, high I, lower C, and lower S. Great. That's a good idea. So that gives me a good little summary here. So this is going to be useful when I'm doing my listing presentation. So apparently our vendor is a visionary, results-driven leader. It's giving me all of the different tips on how to conduct the meeting, how to open the meeting, the presentation itself. Off we go. This used to cost like $50 a month to get psychological profiling using AI. You can do it with Comet or the other tools that we'll share on the hub instantly and for free. Okay, how are we going over here? So it's going through, and on my CRM, it's going through and doing the search. Look what it's doing. It's really interesting. So it's actually scrolling as if it were me. You can see the little screenshots that it's taking. It's clicking on the screen and it's doing the work. This one will take a little bit longer, so I'll let it keep on working. And what you can do here, and I know many of you already figured this out, I can have 10 tabs open, and each one of those tabs can be doing a different piece of work for me. So as you think about all of that drudgery, all of those admin tasks, all of that data entry you have to do all day, every day, this is how the big AI labs are thinking of helping you. They will give you these tools, they'll go through, it'll do the work for you. You're still the boss. You're still checking all the work. But what's happening is it's doing the tough stuff and it's coming back and you're doing what you're great at, which is to check, make sure it's accurate and knowing what to do with the information when it's done. Let's have a pop over here. Great, so it's gone through, by the way, this conversational search, so it's gone through, it's written a letter, it's going to give all the information, and then the last bit I'm waiting for now is for it to open up on Canva, which it'll then go through and start that process. This is a game changer. This is available today, and this content is going to allow you to do really interesting workflows that have simply not been possible using traditional AI in the past. Okay, that's going to keep on working. We're just going to let that boil away over the course of the presentation. Let's come back to wave number 2. Now, wave number 2 is where I want AI to go and do a really complicated task for me and come back with a bundle of results. And I had a real live example for this that I ran a couple of weeks ago that I'm going to share with you. And this is something I needed to learn because we're running a conveyancing business, and just like you, in July, we have to be AML compliant. And I'll be honest, I didn't know anything about AML. So in an AI world, you've got 2 choices. You can spend $2,000 or $3,000 with a fancy consultant who will come in and train you and teach you. Or you can spend $30 and you can go into Google Notebook LM and do this. So let me show you how I saved $2,000 on my AML training program. Okay. Oh, cool. Sorry, just as a quick side, look at this. Look at this. It's gone through on Canva. It's now taken the information from realestate.com. It is dropping it into Canva, and it is laying out a newsletter. How cool is that? Anyway, I'll come back. Let me come back to AML. So this is Notebook LM, a really interesting tool. I think one of the best ways to learn and teach anything. And I want to show you exactly what I did. So the first thing I did up here was I went through and let's just go through. I did what's called deep research, and I asked it to collect all the information from regulators and industry vendors, as well as other information on the net about AML. I wanted to learn everything. And it came back, and look what it did. It found all of these great sources. REIQ, it's got everything from the media, it's got stuff from AFCA, lots of different stuff. So there it is. And it does something that, hey, listen, we've seen AI do this lots. It summarizes it. No big deal, exactly the same as ChatGPT. Let's have a quick look at how it changes the game. Because remember, I need to not only learn it, but I also need to teach my organization about AML. So I do three things. The first thing I do is I create a podcast, because I learn by listening and I drive a lot, so I get to listen in my car. I created a podcast to teach me about everything in these documents. Thousands of pages, I just wanted to learn. I then created a presentation for directors. And finally, I created a training deck. And I want to show you what it looks like. So let's have a listen about how I learned AML. Okay, and this is magic, this stuff.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're not just talking about a minor regulatory tweak. We are looking at a fundamental rewriting of the DNA of the Australian property market.
Yeah, it really is a massive shift.
If you work in real estate, conveyancing, or property development.
Oh, hey there, what's up?
Hey guys, you are live on a AI demo, and I wanted you to summarize the next 20 minutes in 2 or 3 bullet points for the audience.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for chiming in.
That's a fantastic request, especially since we're setting up a survival guide here.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. We can absolutely summarize the core message.
So for the audience, and specifically for Seth, who we are speaking to today, the next 20 minutes boil down to this.
We'll give you 3 key takeaways for preparing for the Tranche 2 reforms.
First, July 1, 2026 is a hard start.
Yeah, the deadline is non-negotiable and the enrollment window is incredibly tight.
Second,
Okay.
the risk.
You all get the idea. It's pretty impressive. It goes through, creates content, and not only does it teach me about the material, I get to talk to it, which is absolutely amazing because I can interactively tell it what I need to know and get it to teach me in a way that I feel comfortable with. But under my little example here, I not only had to learn it, I then had to pitch the directors to make sure they understood how important it was. So what I did here, and I'll just quickly show you what I asked Google to do. I said, could you create a briefing document that synthesizes the main themes and ideas? And I want an executive summary because not all my directors read a lot. And I want it to be logically structured. So I do that and I get this. And this is a much drier document. It's not as much fun as the podcast, but it's really great for my board because they can go through and they can read and understand why this is such a big deal. Again, this whole project didn't take a minute. It took about 20 minutes, but not only did I create a podcast and master the material, I created a document that I can give to my directors. And then finally, it goes through and it does a training deck, which I particularly like this one. So this is now a training deck that I can use to train everybody else in the business that I know is going to use all of that information it did the research on. It's going to put it all together. And it's getting better and better. Literally every single month, the graphics particularly are getting better and better. So as you can see, a really nice workflow. I go from a quick web search, Notebook LM goes through, builds the podcast, the report, and the training deck all in one step. It would have been $2,000 to get a consultant in, and we go through and we do it in real time. You can use this for anything. Your kids will love it, particularly to master school. So check out Notebook LM. Okay, which brings us to the grand finale of our demos. We'll talk a bit of strategy in a second, but we started the presentation with that Ryan Serhant simple and that big glorious system he set up. And I want to show you a glimpse into the future, because that idea of being able to get an agent to go out and do lots of different work for you is slowly becoming a reality. We built a prototype at Prepared to show you, and let's just have a quick look. And just as a reminder, over here on the right, I asked my assistant, Izzy is her name, to go out and do a whole bunch of stuff. I wanted CMAs, I wanted CMAs, I wanted listing presentations, I wanted painters, a whole bunch of other stuff. Did it at 11:03. She comes back at 11:07, and she's done a CMA, a marketing plan, listing presentation, calendar, painters, everything. So she's gone through and booked it all. Let's go see what she did. So I'm going to drop in over here. Great, she sent me an email. Thank you, Izzy. Here's the listing pack. So let's just have a quick look at the documents. Look at that. Oh. So not only has she gone through and built out the listing presentation, she's got the comparable market statistics, she's got the strategy built out. It's not perfect, and this is a demo, but I want to give you just an idea of what type of work AI is going to be able to do, and that's going to be on WhatsApp. We'll go through and do the work. She's gone through, let's check, did she add it to my calendar? Great, it's on the 9th of May, there it is. All added to my calendar, ready to go. And she's even gone through and figured out some painters. So that type of work where we tell AIs to do stuff for us, it's not here yet. But boy, it's coming soon. It took us about 2 weeks to get that demo up and running. I think you'll find by the time you watch this, it might be in June or July, this type of technology is going to be more and more common. So it's exciting. There's a lot coming that's going to get rid of some of the dull work that we all have to do. I want to share a couple of thoughts, because there are some things I want you to do and some things I want you to think about. So firstly, if you're excited by particularly Perplexity, and I don't care if you're using Perplexity, Microsoft Edge, or any of the other great products that do this type of, it's called browser automation, but I'd like you to try it with your apps. Think about steps you need to do where you've got either data entry, reporting, maybe you need to cut and paste material from one website to another, whatever it is. Have a try with Perplexity or one of the others and see how it can help your workflow. I'm going to warn you, it's not perfect. But when you find a workflow that it does well, you're going to save an enormous amount of time. The second thing I'd like you to try is Notebook LM is, in my opinion, one of the truly great learning tools that have ever been given to us. And I'd like you to try either learning or presenting something from it. I was at an AI conference just last week. There was not a single presenter who didn't use Notebook LM to create their presentation. And when experts are using something, it's a good clue that it's very good. And I'd like you to try it as well. And then finally, and this is about you putting on a strategic hat and thinking about how AI can help your role, is I want you to think about repetitive workflows that you do. Which will be different for salespeople, they'll be different for trust accountants, they'll be different for marketers, ops, etc. I get it. But I want to think about what tasks you need to do repetitively. And then I want you to start thinking about how you can stitch these workflows together. We'll give some examples on the hub after the presentation you can download to show you how you might do that. But there's going to be some huge opportunities for you to automate parts of your jobs in some really nice ways. Which brings me to my next point, because automation often has negative connotations. And I want to share something I feel really strongly about. Strongly enough that I built a whole business. I'm building an AI business. And this is, we're not building an AI business based on technology. We're building an AI business based on humans, because we think AI is going to free up humans to spend more time on what really matters, which is customer and client engagement. And I got to say, working with these tools every day, they're amazing and they'll change your life and they'll make things easier. But the opportunity for all of us to lift our game and to do what really matters, which is build relationships, support the people around us, is going to be enhanced, not hurt. I think real estate is particularly robust in terms of what we do, because our entire job is to guide, help, and get people to an outcome. And to be frank, the work that we do is people to people, and it's going to be relevant today, tomorrow, and for a very long time. So I want you to embrace these tools. They're important. They're going to change the day-to-day of our work. But in terms of getting rid of big chunks of the real estate sector, we just don't see it. In fact, in many ways, we think that human touch is going to become more important, not less important in this world, because a lot of stuff is going to be automated and people are going to miss you. Okay, so things I want you to look out for. That conversational and agentic search, the conversational search on REA is a great example, cutting edge stuff. Have a play with that. Like, it is really cool. And it is not just for buyers. It is for us as an industry as well. They've done a phenomenal job. You're going to see more and more of that. Secondly, as you go through, you know how I had those tabs open on Comet where I was doing a LinkedIn search and I was on REA and I was on my CRM? That's going to become your job over the coming 12 months. If there's one prediction I can make, it's that you'll have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tabs open all the time doing different pieces of work. And your job is going to look more and more like that of a manager rather than a doer, no matter what you're doing, because you're going to have 5 or 6 agents doing the work for you. And your job is going to be to make sure that they're doing the right work, they're aligned, and they're adding value to you and the business and your customers. And then finally, easy. That automated operating system, the simple example I gave, that's coming, but I don't think it's coming this year. I think that's going to come probably next year, 2027. This video, it's now saved forever, so we'll see if I'm right. But that type of automation's still got a lot of work to do. So that's coming. I want you to be prepared, but you've got a bit of time before that full automation actually happens. I would recommend focusing your time in 2026 on learning to manage AI teams using one of the many tools available for that. And with that, I am going to thank you for watching this presentation. I'm going to wish you all the best, and I'm going to encourage you to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. Would love to have the conversation. Those of you who are out there doing the real work, working with real customers, are ultimately the only people who are going to understand how AI can best be applied, and I would love to hear from you how you do it. And with that, I'd like to thank, on behalf of Prepared, I'd like to thank you for your time.